The anime starts with Yoshida, a salaryman, asking his senpai, Goto, to go out with him. Goto rejects him as she has been dating someone for the past 5 years. Yoshida is in shock, and to release his frustration, he drinks too much with his friend Hashimoto. On his way home, he sees a teenage girl sitting under a lamppost. Yoshida asks her what she is doing there at such a late hour. Her name is Sayu, and she doesn't have any money to book a train or live anywhere. She asks him to let her stay at his house, and in return, he can sleep with her. Yoshida is not at all pleased and didn't expect to hear this from a high school student, but he still lets her in his house as it is cold outside, with a promise of letting her stay for that night only. At night, in his sleep, Yoshida murmurs that he wanted to taste miso soup made by a woman. Sayu hears it. The next day, it's Sunday, and Sayu makes miso soup for Yoshida in the hope that he'll let her stay. However, Yoshida doesn't relent, so she again offers herself to Yoshida in exchange for staying more days. Yoshida becomes angry and demands her ID card, asking her how long she's been away from home. It is revealed that Sayu is from Hokkaido, and it has been 6 months since she left her home. Sayu tells him that no one in her family wants her, which is why she decided to live alone. Yoshida is in a dilemma. He tells her to do house chores if she wants to stay, and also if she ever tries to act or say any indecent words, he will kick her out. Sayu happily accepts the conditions. A few days have passed since then. At Yoshida's office, his friend tells him that there is a rumor about him getting a girlfriend because lately he is doing much better work and also wearing properly ironed clothes. Yoshida tells him about what happened the day he was rejected. Hashimoto asks whether he checked if there is any missing report regarding her. Yoshida confirms that he checked online, but apparently there was no news related to her. At home, Yoshida notices that Sayu's back is hurting and she always wears her school uniform. So one day, he and Sayu go shopping for some clothes and a futon for her. Sayu is very happy and tells him that in the previous home she stayed in, none of them cared for her as Yoshida does. Yoshida is annoyed that she considers a lowlife like him nice and tells her that those people were jerks. The next day at the office, Yoshida is a bit annoyed at his junior Mishima because the code she input is buggy and the deadline for the project is today. If they don't complete it, he might be removed from the project because he is in charge of her. To make sure this doesn't happen, Mishima promises to stay late and work on it. It's night, and just as she promised, Mishima finally corrects the bug. Yoshida is also there to support her. He buys some food for her. Mishima is very happy. Out of curiosity, she asks about the rumor. Yoshida clarifies that the rumor about him having a girlfriend is false. He tells her about the rejection he received from Goto's senpai. Mishima is a bit surprised but happy to know that there is no one in Yoshida senpai's life. At home, Sayu is angry because Yoshida is late and the food has gone cold. So Yoshida apologizes and tells her about the project deadline he had to deal with. Sayu assures him that she was just joking and not actually mad at him. Yoshida notices that Sayu doesn't have a cell phone, and in case of emergency, he should be able to convey his message. So the next day, he goes to the cell phone shop with his friend. He's looking very carefully for the right color to suit Sayu's taste. His friend asks whether Yoshida likes Sayu. Yoshida replies that he is not interested in little girls, and that he only prefers women with big assets, like Goto's senpai. Hashimoto tells Yoshida that he should avoid getting into any relationship with her, as later it might cause legal troubles. Yoshida agrees that he is aware of this. At the office, Goto's senpai asks Yoshida to go out for dinner as she wants to talk to him about something important. Yoshida is a bit nervous. At night, while they are having dinner, Yoshida asks why she invited him, as it is weird to go out with someone who has rejected you. Goto asks about the girl he's dating. In reply, Yoshida clarifies that there is no one. Goto says that she has known him for 5 years, and during those years, she has never seen Yoshida shaving his beard so regularly, wearing ironed clothes every day, and even going home as soon as he finishes work. She asks whether he and Mishima are dating, because she has seen them together a lot lately. Yoshida clarifies that there is nothing going on between them. Goto replies, "Oh, is that so? Then it's fine." Yoshida is a bit confused. At home, he again apologizes for being late and gives Sayu the cell phone he bought. Sayu is very happy. The next day at the office, Mishima asks Yoshida to watch a movie with her. Yoshida is a bit hesitant, but before he can respond, Mishima quickly books 2 tickets. At home, Saya receives a message from Yoshida about him watching a movie with his colleague. Saya starts wondering whether this colleague is a girl, and if Yoshida starts dating someone, then she would have to find another place to live. She is so worried that she goes out to see for herself. Mishima and Yoshida are coming out of the theater when Sayu, who has just reached there, sees Mishima hugging Yoshida. She is shocked and quickly runs away. Yoshida is also surprised and a bit uncomfortable, so he pushes Mishima back. When Yoshida reaches home, he finds that Sayu is not there. He panics and goes out to look for her. Sayu is sitting on a bench in the park where she meets Mishima. They both share about a certain person they were thinking about. Yoshida arrives at the park. Mishima and Sayu are both surprised to know that the person they were talking about was Yoshida. Mishima tells Yoshida that he owes her an explanation about Sayu. At home, Yoshida asks Sayu why she left. Sayu explains that she was a bit insecure as she fears Yoshida will kick her out because since she arrived, she hasn't done anything useful for him, and if he starts dating someone, then she would have to leave. Yoshida assures her that she doesn't need to worry. He tells Sayu how his life has completely changed after her arrival. Earlier, when he came home, he was always thinking about work and other household chores, but now because of her, the home has become more pleasant. Sayu is very emotional after hearing this and hugs Yoshida. The next day, at night, Sayu asks Yoshida about working part-time at the nearest convenience store. Yoshida, without any second thought, agrees. He says it is good as it will help her get some fresh air and also make some friends there. The next day, Sayu goes to the convenience store for work. There, she meets her senior worker, Asami. They are both of the same age and quickly start bonding. Asami asks Sayu a few questions regarding where she lives. She gets to know that they both live very close to each other, so Asami tells her that today she will come to her house. Sayu is a bit reluctant and tells her that she lives with someone. In a suspicious tone, Asami asks who it is. Sayu responds that he is like a brother who takes care of her. Asami is a bit excited and asks, "Brother like? You mean you are not related, and now I need to see who this guy is." Sayu messages Yoshida about Asami. Yoshida, who is at his office, is surprised. Mishima quickly peeks at Yoshida's cell phone and asks what they are talking about. Yoshida is a bit annoyed and tells Mishima to mind her own business. Goto Senpai, who is a bit far away, can see that Mishima and Yoshida are talking. The night before entering his home, Yoshida takes a deep breath. Inside the house, Asami asks a few questions regarding their relationship. In reply, Yoshida says that he is Sayu's babysitter, and now when she needs a bit of help, he is just helping her settle. Asami is not satisfied with the answer. Later, they eat the food Sayu made. After they eat, Asami asks Yoshida to accompany her to her house. Yoshida agrees. When Sayu asks whether she should also come, in response, Asami says that it is a man's job to escort a pretty girl. On the way, Asami says that she knows Yoshida is lying about Sayu and his relationship. She demands the truth. In response, Yoshida says, "I'm not in any position to tell you something. If Sayu wants to hide it from you, then you should not force her." Asami is impressed and says that he really acts as Sayu's big brother. The next day at the office, as Yoshida completes his work, Goto Senpai approaches him. She asks him to have dinner with her at a restaurant. Yoshida asks the reason. Goto Senpai replies, "Why did you lie that you and Mishima are not dating?" Yoshida is a little bit frustrated this time. He says, "You invited me to ask this again." He adds, "In the first place, why do you even care about who I go out with? Give me a reason, or else I will not answer you." Goto Senpai hesitantly says that she likes Yoshida a lot and has liked him for a very long time. Yoshida is surprised. He says, "But didn't you say you were dating someone for 5 years?" Goto Senpai replies that it was a lie. He can't believe what is happening. Yoshida says that he does not trust her. Goto Senpai then asks what she could do to convince him. Yoshida, then in a low voice, asks Goto Senpai to sleep with him. Goto Senpai blushingly asks if it's okay if it's her first time. Yoshida almost chokes on the beer he is drinking. He quickly apologizes to her and says that he was just joking. He tells Goto Senpai that he has already proposed to her, and now it's her time to propose to him, and when she thinks it is the right time, she should ask him then. Goto Senpai happily agrees. After she answers Yoshida's question, Goto Senpai asks him about the girl he was messaging at the office. Yoshida tells her about Sayu. At home, Saya receives a message from Yoshida. He tells her that Goto-senpai will be coming home to meet her. Saya is a bit surprised. After an hour, Yoshida and Goto-senpai arrive. Saya is nervous to meet Goto-senpai. Goto knows Saya is a bit nervous, so to lighten the mood, she teases Yoshida by saying, I hope Yoshida didn't do any indecent things with you. Sayu, now a bit relaxed, replies that surprisingly, he didn't. While Yoshida is in the toilet, Goto-senpai tells Sayu to send Yoshida away for a bit because she wants to talk to her privately. Sayu, without any hesitation, agrees. After Yoshida comes back from the toilet, she tells him to bring some eggs, chives, and miso. Yoshida agrees, but before he leaves, he asks Sayu if she will be okay being alone with Goto-senpai. Saya responds yes. After Yoshida leaves, Goto-senpai asks Sayu about her age, when she left home, and where her home is. Up until this point, Sayu is comfortable, but when Goto-senpai asks the reason she left her home, Sayu gets nervous and replies that she can't tell her that. Goto-senpai respects that and doesn't force her. Then Goto-senpai asks Sayu when she will leave. As a friend of Yoshida and a stranger to Sayu, Goto-senpai is worried for Yoshida. She tells Sayu, "You know that keeping an unknown high school student at home could lead him to jail." Sayu replies that she understands and just needs a little more time. Goto-senpai is glad that Sayu is aware of her position. She asks, before Yoshida, where were you living? Sayu, a bit hesitant, tells her that before Yoshida, she used to offer her body to strangers in exchange for a place to live, and when they realized that they could get into legal trouble, they kicked her out of their house. Goto-senpai was shocked and sad to know that, thinking how a high school girl ended up like this. She hugged Sayu and comforted her. Both of them were emotional. When Yoshida came back, he accompanied Goto-senpai on her way home. She told Yoshida that Sayu is an unstable girl, she doesn't know herself, and it will be difficult if her emotions burst out. So she advises him to be sure to take care of her. Yoshida agrees. He said that's the whole plan. Not until I see Sayu is finally ready, I will not force her to leave. The next day, Sayu went to her job. She had an unexpected encounter with Yaguchi. Yaguchi was one of the people with whom Sayu slept in exchange for a place. She is tormented to see Yaguchi being one of the workers in the store. Yaguchi immediately recognizes Sayu and greets her. He told her after she left, he was hoping to meet her again. Sayu was too scared to speak anything. Asami enters the room and tells Yaguchi not to waste any time and get to work. After work, Sayu was on her way home but encountered Yaguchi again. Even though he had left earlier, he was waiting for her. Sayu didn't want to have any conversation, so she tried to leave. However, Yaguchi grabs Sayu's hand and tells her to go to the house she is currently living in. Sayu told him that she cannot do that and told him to leave her alone. He told her that if she didn't go, he'll tell her deeds to the manager and Asami. Sayu was terrified. Yaguchi tells her that he just wants to talk, nothing else. Sayu asks, "Really? You only want to talk, right?" Yaguchi tells her that seeing her after so long, he got excited and that is why he wants to chat for a little bit. Sayu agrees and takes him to Yoshida's apartment. There, after chatting for a bit, he asks Sayu to sleep with him, but Sayu refuses. Yaguchi started forcing her. Sayu was terrified, realizing that she let someone like him inside the house. She gives up, but in the nick of time, Yoshida enters. Seeing what Yoshida was doing, he kicks him out and tells him to get lost. Before he leaves, Yaguchi tells Yoshida that he is lame. A high school girl is in his home willing to sleep with him, but he wants to make her do chores. Yoshida was devastated, thinking these people who could have saved Sayu way earlier than him only used her to satisfy their lust. He gets inside the apartment and hugs Sayu, saying that he is sorry for not being able to come earlier. The next day at the store, Asami talked to Sayu about whether yesterday something happened between her and Yaguchi. Sayu was surprised and asked her the reason she thinks that. Yesterday, after Sayu left, she saw her with Yaguchi with a smile. Sayu replied that nothing happened. Asami notices Sayu's fake smile. She immediately realizes something is wrong. She went up to Yaguchi and asked him. Yaguchi, without any remorse, told her that he went with Sayu to her apartment and asked her to sleep with him, but when she rejected him, he forced her a little bit. Asami got pissed and slapped him. She told him to apologize to Sayu. Yaguchi apologizes and told her that he is only sorry for forcing, but not for asking. Sayu asks him why he didn't tell Asami that they have already slept with each other, because he promised not to tell anyone if she let him come to her house. Sayo started laughing because after what he did, it was very weird of him. Sayo was not as mad as before, but still was not willing to forgive him. Sayo receives a message from Yoshida that he will be late, so after work, Sayo and Asami spent some time with each other. Lately, a car has been stopping by the store. However, they do not purchase anything. Sayo is a bit worried after Asami tells her at the office. Seeing Goto Senpai and Yoshida being close, Mishima is a bit pissed. With courage, when Goto Senpai was alone, she invites her to lunch. Goto Senpai agrees. During lunch, Mishima asks Goto Senpai whether she likes Yoshida Senpai or not. Goto Senpai does like him but is just waiting for Yoshida to realize what kind of relationship he wants to have with Sayo. Goto Senpai does not want to force anything on Yoshida and is patient with the outcome. Mishima, unsatisfied with the response, lashes out at Goto Senpai because she can't see the person she loves with another girl who doesn't even determine to have him. So in the evening, she approaches Yoshida and asks him to watch a movie with her. Yoshida refuses because today he promised to eat with Sayo. Mishima is frustrated because Yoshida hasn't noticed her love for him, so she just confesses to him. Yoshida didn't react much, just smiles as she leaves. The next day in the morning, Yoshida and Sayo are cleaning the house. She finds a photo album of Yoshida during his school days. Seeing a photo of Yoshida with his senpai, Sayo teases Yoshida about his having a preference for only older women. Yoshida shares that during his relationship with her, she got frustrated and dumped him because Yoshida was too clingy. She doesn't want a person in her life who is so needy. At the convenience store, the car from earlier again arrives, but this time a guy in a black suit comes out. Seeing him, Sayo got nervous. Noticing that Sayo wants to avoid that person, Yaguchi covers for her, and when asked about Sayo, he told the guy that no person with that name works here. Later, Sayo shares that the person is her brother. After seeing that her brother is looking for her, Sayo is worried because Sayo wants to go back, but only when she is comfortable, not like this. Sayo receives a message from Yoshida about purchasing some items for the home. After her shopping, Sayo was about to leave but had an encounter with Mishima. Sayo hides behind her when she notices her brother is near, so they went to karaoke, and there she told everything to Mishima. Yoshida receives a message from Sayo about her being with Mishima. After a few minutes, Yoshida arrives, and they both go home. Mishima is jealous and emotional to notice the way Yoshida sees Sayo. Even though Mishima's love for him is real, Yoshida doesn't see her like that. On their way home, Sayo notices a pamphlet regarding a summer festival. As she has never been to these, Yoshida takes her there. On the festival day, seeing Sayo's bare neck made Yoshida blush a little. There they ate cotton candy and enjoyed the fireworks. Since it was Sayo's first time, she was mesmerized to witness the beauty of fireworks. Yoshida is in a panic when he notices Sayo is not next to him, so he started calling her name. Sayo is behind him and told him that she only went to throw some trash. Seeing Yoshida in a panic, Sayo teases him by asking whether he wants her to not go back to her home. Yoshida, with a smile, said that she should go. The next morning, the doorbell rings. Thinking it might be a courier, Yoshida went and opened it. The person introduces himself as Issa Ajiwara, Sayo's brother, and he is here to take Sayo back. Both Yoshida and Sayo are in shock. Issa tells about their mother being worried for Sayo, and she asked Issa to bring her back. As the conversation goes on, Issa is relieved to see Sayo was taken in by Yoshida because he could see how much he cares for her. Sayo and Issa have a private talk. Issa, after Sayo's request, gives her a week to make the decision. After Asami comes to Yoshida's home, Sayo tells them the reason she left her home because she believes that they deserve to know. Sayo never had a good relationship with her mother. This is why, even during school, she didn't put any effort into her studies and used to stay alone. But one day on the rooftop, Yuko, Sayo's classmate, approached her and asked whether they could be friends because they both used to stay alone from the rest. They started to develop a bond. However, Yuko started getting bullied because one of the girls liked the basketball guy whom Sayo rejected. They can't bully Sayo because she is pretty and cool, whereas Yuko is less pretty and gloomy and a much easier target. Sayo was sad and devastated because of her. Yuko, who is her first friend, is getting bullied. She tells Yuko how much she loves her. However, Yuko's bullying doesn't stop. Sayo told her that they would fight together, but Yuko was at her limit. She couldn't take any more. She believes because of her, Sayo has not been laughing lately. An ugly girl like her ruined her charm. Just before she jumps off the roof, she tells Sayo to bring her smile back because she looks cooler that way, and she jumps. Soon, people from the media started gathering in front of Sayo's house and wanted to ask questions regarding the incident. Being fed up with them, Sayo's mother asked Sayo whether she is not the one who killed Yuko, because why would they trouble them if it was a suicide? Sayo was devastated. She couldn't believe a mother could say something like that. Realizing her mother doesn't care for her feelings, she left home. Issa, after knowing what happened between their mother and Sayo, respected Sayo's decision. He gave her some money to live on and a cell phone for emergencies. However, soon the money ran out and the cell phone died. With no place to go, a man took her to his house, believing he was doing it in good faith. Sayo happily went, but as soon as the days passed, the guy wanted to sleep with her, and with no place to go, she gave up, and that's how she started living until she met Yoshida. Everyone was emotional and couldn't believe a little girl like her had gone through this stuff. Yoshida tells his colleagues about Sayo going back to her home. They are a bit surprised because it is too sudden, but they too believe it is good for her. At night, while going back home, Yoshida meets Issa on the way. Issa shows his gratitude towards Yoshida for taking care of his sister. Yoshida tells him to lift his head. Issa tells Yoshida the reason their mother doesn't love Sayo. Their father, who was also the president of Ajiwara Foods, was an unfaithful man. By the time their mother was pregnant with Sayo, he was already making out with another woman and told their mother to abort the child. But she believed by bringing Sayo into this life, her husband would not leave. However, he still left, and from then, their mother sees Sayo as the reason her husband left her. Yoshida is sad to hear it. Issa tells him that after not being able to receive love from her parents, Sayo now sees Yoshida as a parental figure. Before leaving, Issa thanks Yoshida again for taking care of Sayo. Back at home, Sayo gave Yoshida a recipe book that she has made. After she leaves, it will help him make healthy food and will prevent him from eating frozen meals. Yoshida is amazed to receive it and thanks her. Later, they go to a place where she and Asami went earlier. Yoshida hasn't ever seen this view. He is flabbergasted. Sayo tells him that when he is not at home, she often thinks of leaving because she doesn't want to go in Yoshida's presence but still can't go. She has become too attached to him but understands that she needs to face her problems and go back to her home. This way, she can also prove to everyone that meeting Yoshida was one of the best things that happened to her. They both get emotional. The next day at the office, since Sayo is going to Maro, Hashimoto could see how worried Yoshida is. Mishima suggests going to Hokkaido with Sayo. However, Yoshida refuses because he has a job. Mishima insists just because of one person, the company won't go bankrupt. Yoshida doesn't want to intervene and lets Sayo handle her problem herself. While working, Yoshida receives a call from Asami. She tells Yoshida about Sayo going missing. Yoshida is worried because Sayo's phone is also inactive. He's a bit hesitant to look for Sayo because Yoshida thinks she has gone home. However, Hashimoto asks Goto Senpai to allow them to take a leave. She allows them. Yoshida and Hashimoto go to look out for Sayo. On the way, looking at Yoshida's expression, Hashimoto is pissed. He tells Yoshida if he cares so much for her, why doesn't he go to Hokkaido and make sure until the end she is fine? Before Yoshida answers, he receives a call from Goto Senpai and gets to know Sayo is with her in front of his apartment. Sayo wanted to go home together with Yoshida, and as a surprise, she came to the office. However, because her phone's battery died, she was unable to answer. Yoshida, Goto, and Asami tease Yoshida for his look when he got to know that Sayo was missing. Before Asami and Goto Senpai leave, Sayo thanks them for their help. Back at home, since it's Sayo's last time, she wants to lie down next to Yoshida. Yoshida is a bit surprised but allows her. Sayo tells Yoshida that if he had been her father, maybe she would have been raised well. Yoshida replies that he is just a stranger who happened to meet her. He turns his face towards Sayo, and as a last service, he tells Sayo that he will come with her to Hokkaido so that she doesn't feel scared facing her mother. Sayo is very happy and tightly hugs Yoshida. The next day, before Sayo prepares to leave, Asami bids her last farewell. On the plane, Issa is a bit surprised that Yoshida came along but thanks him for his help. After they land, they get inside a car and go towards Sapporo. Yoshida is surprised because Sayo doesn't live there. This is where Issa's company is, and he has some work to do. While he is at his office, he tells Sayo and Yoshida to spend some time together for the last time. At the cafe, Sayo tells Yoshida that during high school, she wasn't allowed to go on vacations and spend time with her friend in a cafe like normal students. Yoshida is sad to hear it. After drinking coffee, they get in the car with Issa. Sayo tells her brother to drop them at her school. There is something Sayo wants Yoshida to see. Yoshida is a bit worried because they are trespassing. However, Sayo assures him that at this time in the countryside, usually no one is up. While walking up the stairs, Sayo holds Yoshida's arm and goes to the rooftop. However, the door is locked, so she goes through the window. She is trembling and tells Yoshida to quickly come over. Sayo starts to get flashbacks and is terrified to think of Yuko. She blames herself for Yuko's death. If she had not been her friend, Yuko would still be alive. Yoshida comforts Sayo and tells her that it was Yuko who decided to befriend her because she admired her. There is no point in crying and blaming yourself. From now on, live for yourself and for her. That way you can help her. After crying for a bit and looking at the sky, Sayo promises to bring her smile back just as Yuko wanted. Coming to this school was a really necessary step for Sayo to overcome her fear. After this, they went back to her home. Sayo is nervous to return home after 6 months. When she enters, she is greeted with a slap from her mother. Yoshida is shocked. She is angry at Sayo because all the rumors after she left were making it difficult for her family to live. Issa stops her mother and tells her about Yoshida, who is taking care of Sayo. She stares at Yoshida and goes inside. They all sit in the dining room. After all the things Sayo has done to humiliate the family, Sayo's mother is disgusted that Sayo stayed with someone who is a complete stranger. Looking at Yoshida, her mother asks whether he knows what he did as a criminal activity. Yoshida tells her that she is right. She adds, who knows what else he has done to Sayo. Sayo gets angry and tells her mother not to say anything bad about Yoshida because he thinks of her as family more than her mother does. Her mother gets angry and tells Sayo that it would have been great if she hadn't given birth to her. Sayo is devastated after hearing this. Issa tells Sayo's mother that just like a parent can't choose their child, a child also can't choose their parents. However, it's a parent's duty to protect their child until they are mature enough, and if she wants to throw Sayo aside, he is ready to take care of her for the rest of his life, but that is not the right answer. Yoshida gets on his knees and requests to take care of Sayo until she is mature enough to help herself because it is only her who has the responsibility and authority to help Sayo. Sayo's mother is shocked and wonders why a stranger would go to this extent. Issa also gets on his knees and begs their mother. Sayo's mother starts crying and shouts at them to get out. Outside, Yoshida is crying. He never knew Sayo's mother hated her this much. He is devastated to hear a mother say that she never wanted to birth her child. Both of them are emotional and stare at the night sky. Issa comes and tells them that their mother has agreed to not complain until Sayo completes high school. Issa shows his gratitude towards Yoshida for going to the extent of kneeling in front of their mother. Even as a brother, he never did that. Yoshida's gesture was so natural that it somehow made their mother feel frustrated about how a stranger could go to this extent. Because it is so late, Issa insists Yoshida spend the night there. Yoshida agrees and requests Aya say that he wants to speak to their mother. Issa agrees. Yoshida apologizes for his rude behavior. Sayo's mom tells Yoshida to go back to his home tomorrow, and as for Sayo's future, she'll talk face-to-face with her. After Yoshida, it is Sayo who wants to talk to her. Sayo apologizes for causing trouble. Sayo's mother still can't understand since when everything went downhill, but after Yoshida made her realize that she is the only parent, she is willing to let Sayo complete high school, and after that, Sayo can decide whatever she wants to do. At night, since it is the last time, Sayo sneaks in and gets on the bed with Yoshida. She hugs him and thanks him for the last time. The next morning, at the airport, Issa talks privately with Yoshida before he leaves. He thanks him for taking care of Sayo, and because of him, Sayo was able to move on. Before Yoshida leaves, Sayo gets emotional and tells him that she likes him and she'll come for him. Yoshida, with a smile, bids her goodbye. Yoshida comes back to his apartment, but the emptiness starts to make him emotional. He scolds himself for crying. After months at the office, Goto Senpai plans to go to dinner with Mishima and Hashimoto, but tells Yoshida he can't come because of work. Yoshida is surprised but understands the situation. At night, on the way home, while Yoshida is walking, he is stunned under the same lamppost. It is Sayo in her high school dress. He goes to her and gets emotional. They recreate the scenario, and he tells her that it is dangerous for a high school student to stay out this late. Sayo explains that she is far from her home and doesn't have anywhere to go. Teasingly, she asks if he can let her stay in his house.